Good evening. Welcome back to the Pneumius HaTorah podcast, or whatever cast you go to call this. I just saw mice this morning before Shacharis as I was drinking my coffee. I opened up actually Rav David Abu Chatzera's Pneumius HaTorah booklet. It had a story in it that caught my attention. I found that for some reason I found it very inspiring. It's not like a super inspiring story, but the lesson of it to me was I felt was a very good hachana for my davening. The Heilige Rebbe, Reb Cheskel Schrage Halberstam, the Shinover Rebbe, Chatzkel Shinover. So one Shabbos he went away with his gabbai and a bunch of Hasidim to a faraway town, and he feared Tish over there. He was going to fear an entire Shabbos over there in this Kehila. And they had a very late Tish, and they had traveled a long journey to get there, and the gabbai of the Shinover Rebbe after the Tish had to set up the base medrash for the following day for davening, and the place needed to be set up a lot, and he was very eiskemated. And there was this bacher in this town who was plotting. How could he do something? How could he be Misharis, the Shinover Rebbe? He wanted to have with the Rebbe. He wanted to do something to connect to the Rebbe. So he saw that there was a lot of work to be done. He told the Gabi, he says, listen, why don't you go to sleep? I'll set up the base medrash. And the Gabi says, okay, let me show you what you need to do. He gives him the basic instructions. And this bacher sets down to work to start setting up the base medrash for the Rebbe's Shachris. When he starts setting up, he starts thinking to himself, listen, I'm doing such a holy task, setting up the base medrash for the Shinover Rebbe. He says, I need to have a pure kavanah when I do this. What type of kavanah should I have when I set up this base medrash? So he said, there was a well-known misharis of a previous Rebbe. Rav Menachem Mendel Miriminov had a misharis. His name, they called him Rab Hersh Misharis. Okay, he was the Misharis of the Rimanover, and he was totally mevat himself to Menachem and the Rimanov, and he was a person from a very pashut background. The Rimanover took him into his home, and he was Misharis him, but to everybody's surprise, Rav Tzvi Hersh Rimanover, who was Rav Hersh Misharis, ended up being the Rebbe after Menachem and the Rimanov. He reached such madregas by being davik to his Rebbe that he went from Rav Hersh Misharis to the successor of Menachem Mendel Rimanov, Rav Tzvi Hersh Rimanov, and everybody knew Rav Tzvi Hersh Rimanov. His mifsim were beyond belief, despite the fact that he had seemed to have come from very simple stock. And it all came from his dveikus to his Rebbe. So this bacher says, you know what? I don't know what kavanas I'm supposed to be having, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to have in mind everything I'm doing with the kavanas of Rav Tzvi Hersh Rimanov. So he says, Hashem, it should be, everything I'm doing should be adas, the kavanas of Rav Hersh Misharis of Tzvi Hersh Rimanov. And with that, he goes through without the entire base medrash, and he sets up everything adas, Rav Tzvi Hersh Rimanov. The following morning, the Rebbe comes to base medrash, he's about to walk in, and he stops. And he calls the Gabba and says, Gabba, who set up this base medrash? And the guy was all scared. Oh no, the guy did a bad job. You know what I'm saying? He starts apologizing. I'm sorry. I was very tired. This bacher offered to do it. This bacher did. He says, call me that bacher. They call over the bacher, and the Rebbe asked him, tell me, what were you thinking? What were you thinking when you set up this base medrash? He says, I tell you, I want to have good kavanas. I had in mind that everything I'm doing on das Rav Tzvi Hersh Rimanov. And the Rebbe says, I knew there was something special. I walked this base medrash. I saw a kedusha that I could not realize where did this come from, you know. And your kavanah had an amazing effect on the kedusha of the base medrash. So when I saw this in preparation for davening, you know, it gave me this idea that, you know, our kavanas in our hachana for everything. I'm not setting up the base medrash for the Shinover Rebbe. I'm going to be makav kavanas to Kadosh Baruch Hu. And imagine if I could get a hachana that I'm doing this with a pure das, with a pure kavanah, pure intention, that to bring a nachas ruach to Kadosh Baruch Hu, achas kama v'kama, right? My machshava Torah in preparation for this avodah would bear a lot of fruit. That was like my inspiration, you know, for my davening. You know, let's focus on being a nachas ruach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu before you walk into daven, and then Be'ez Hashem, your parents will bear those fruits and bring in tremendous nachas ruach reich nichayach la Hashem. Good night.